Good morning. We start our working day in the Ukrainian Crisis Media Center, and we will be talking about the Ministries of Defense activities over the past week. And we invite Oksana Gavrylyuk, Head of Communications and Press Department with the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. Good morning, dear friends. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine has completed, in general, the activities according to the program adopted by the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine. The key documents in the defense sector has been developed about the military infrastructure, restoration of the military naval forces, and in the east of Ukraine. The regulatory acts has been developed and adopted on defense manpower system improvement, optimization of the network of military departments with the civil higher educational institutions. The military units of the armed forces of Ukraine has been participating in the multinational trainings in 2016. The manpower reserved for vacancies in the top rank positions has been formed for the next year. There are 1,780 participants who are included in this reserve. The new system of logistic supplies for the armed forces, which is consistent with the NATO standards, has been initiated, as well as training of the military experts with the training sector. At the same time, the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine has completed the reform actions in 2015 in the system of the national security and defense under the aegis of the National Council of Reform. During these activities in 2015, the new edition of the military doctrine of Ukraine has been elaborated, and the drafts or concepts of development of the security and defense sector of Ukraine have been elaborated and submitted to the government for adoption, as well as the state-targeted defense program of development of weaponry and military equipment till 2020 and military medical doctrine. So far, jointly with the foreign expert, the strategic defense newsletter of Ukraine draft model is about to be finished. The Ministry of Defense and General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has optimized their structures to adhere to NATO standards. The military potential of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has been increased, taking into consideration the ATO needs and the need to protect the country from the aggression. To this end, in principle, new system of management has been elaborated. The manpower of ground forces has been improving its striking capabilities in the assault landing forces and the special operations forces has been created. The system of training has been significantly changed. Today it includes individual training for all all this stuff and also combating collective training for the units of armed forces. The Defense Agency is the only central executive body that has put into effect the anti-corruption program for 2015-2017. The reforms in material and technical supplies to the military forces stipulated establishment of the Council of Reform to implement the anti-corruption program. The other achievements are electronic procurement tenders, which allows to save a lot of money on governmental procurements, and 3 dozens of technical regulations has been developed on supplies of uniforms and accessories, which meets NATO standards. And according to the best practices of the USA, the Center of Development of Logistics Supplies of the Armed Forces has been established in Ukraine, and an experiment with food supply has been completed. Our foreign partners provide assistance to Ukraine in many aspects. The draft concept of development of armed forces for the period till 2020 includes active consultations with foreign consultants. The representatives of NATO liaison office in Ukraine are assisting with developing the concept of Ukrainian armed forces development. The experts of RAND Corporation provided their proposals on reforming the activities of the Ministry of Defense. The key areas of further reforming of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine is creation of single systems of logistics, completing with manpower reservists, and updating of the systems of military experts training. During the last week the commissions of the Ministry of Defense and Armed Forces of Ukraine has conducted the meetings to grant the status of battle participants to 637 servicemen and employees of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, which participated in ATO operation. So far, the status of battle participants has been granted to 101,580 persons. The Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine has passed the resolutions concerning the completion of the program of implementation of the program of improving defensive capacity of the state and ensuring urgent needs of armed forces of Ukraine as concern production of AN-140 AEA planes, tanks, BM Oplot, combined target decoy discrimination devices address and its modifications, including 155 millimeter guided missile launchers. The documents defines very strict rules and conditions to regulate the relations between the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine on provision of state guarantees for supplies for repayment of loans where enterprises, manufacturers will be involved. The state enterprises continues to supply to the armed forces of Ukraine new and modernized weaponry and military equipment. According to the governmental order for 2015, this year the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine have signed more than 100 contracts and supplementary agreement with the state-owned enterprises manufacturers for a total amount of over 5 billion hryvnias. This provided the opportunity for armed forces of Ukraine to purchase 3,756 units of weaponry and military equipment. And now we are giving the floor to the ATO spokesperson, Major Anton Miravnovich. Good morning, dear colleagues. The situation in the ATO zone during the previous day remains unchanged. At the eve of the new year, the Russian-backed hybrid militant formations continue to violate ceasefire, which was supported this year at the meetings of the trilateral contact group in Minsk. First, I would like to provide a brief analysis of the situations during the previous day. Yesterday, our positions near Donetsk airport, near Pisky and Opitna were systematically fired upon by militants from small arms, grenade launchers, and heavy machine guns. Besides that, in Pisky, the enemy yesterday launched mines from a mortar of 82 millimeters to the north of Gorlivka, and the positions near Shumy, Kadema, and Mayorsk. The aggressors chaotically with non-proficient fire fired with small arms on our positions. Near Lugansk, late in the evening, the militants conducted precision fire from grenade launchers, heavy machine guns. They tried also to fire from sniper rifles. The precision fire on the positions of OTO from grenade launchers was registered near Chermalik in Mariupol direction. Yesterday, the reconnaissance and sabotage Russian-backed militants group of 15 persons made an attempt to attack one of Ukrainian army's units near Zaitsev. However, Ukrainian soldiers returned fire. There was a military crash and the enemy fled. Yesterday, there were 33 episodes of ceasefire violation. From the midnight towards our positions this day, the militants opened fire 5 times from small arms. Yesterday, in the near the village of Zaitsev, to the north of Gorlivka, the group of militants of one illegal military formation was identified. They were in camouflaged uniforms like military uniforms of the armed forces of Ukraine, and they conducted chaotic fire from small arms on civil infrastructure and civil citizens in Zaitsev. Thus, the militants, by the instruction of the curators from Russian Federation, again tried to cheat local citizens and to blame Ukrainian armed forces in violation of ceasefire regime. in the ATO zone. Yesterday, we also received the news from civil citizens of the occupied Kominternovo near Mariupol. The local citizens complain that the militants fire on them and that they steal things from their houses. The so-called called command center of the Russian-backed troops in Novoazovsk was approached by civil citizens who blame the militants in violating the peace in Kominternovo. In total, the number of military provocations on the part of Russian-backed troops during the last day was stable. Every day about 30 cases of ceasefire violation took place, all of them on the part of illegal military formations. On Saturday, December 26, there were 66 violations of ceasefire agreements. On Sunday, 35. Yesterday, there were 33 cases of violations. During the day, more than 5 cases of violation. This day, we registered during the 3 days, the information on UAV flights was not received, trying to discredit Ukrainian military troops. The militants on Sunday violated the safety of OCE representatives on the controlled by militants website DAN. With the reference to one of anti-Ukrainian propaganda criminals, Eduard Basurin. He reported that he was fired by Ukrainian servicemen along with the representatives of OSCE team and the Russian party in the Joint Center of Control and Coordination near Kominternovo. By chance, there were also the representatives of Russian mass media. The warning that the militants prepare provocations against OSCE representatives in that area was made by the Ukrainian party. It had been made before the report which was issued by Eduard Basurin. In total, the ATO leaders, the ATO management top staff controls the situation in that region, and Ukrainian troops are ready to adequately respond to any challenges and threats on the part of controlled by the Russian Federation leaders hybrid gangsters. And our military men are ready to celebrate the new year. Yes, we also congratulate you with the coming new year. We will have the additional press briefing after the briefing of Colonel Matyukhin. It will be after 12:30. We will be talking about